So hi, my name is Jessica Rose, as we've covered, and I'm going to talk to you about how to use newbies to sort of build a better tech culture. So to give you a bit of background about myself, they've already said that I'm a self-taught technologist, and I'm really, really passionate about open access to technical education. And even more important, I'm really interested in open access to technical spaces. So getting people into technical jobs, getting people into technical pay scales, really. I hear a lot about getting into technology, about the love of the work or the love of making something. But I think you're recognizing that it's really important to look at the practical considerations if we want real diversity. So as an industry, I think most of us can agree that we want to see more diversity in tech. And a lot of times we tend to look at diversity in technology as getting in more women. And I'd like to take a little bit more of a holistic role. I want to see more diversity sort of across the board. So we know we want to see more women, we want to see more people of color, we want to see people coming in from sort of non-university backgrounds. More of everybody. We've got a labor shortage. We could take anybody clever we got. But I also do a lot of one-on-one work with people from underrepresented groups working in technology now. And I see a lot of feedback from those groups. So I see a lot of people talking about wanting better appreciation of their ideas and work. A lot of times people who are underrepresented in tech feel that they're not being sort of judged on the same standards as their peers. Flexible working conditions, benefits that match the needs. I should warn you all that I was a school teacher before this. So there's probably going to be some awkward hand raising and audience participation. Does anybody work in an office with a ping pong table? Hey, anybody have free beer at work? Hey, does anybody really like free beer at work? Some of you guys are getting free beer and are sort of, So really, when we're looking at these issues, I think we've got two different problems. We've got a difficult time getting more diverse people into technology, and then we've got people who are in technology from diverse backgrounds telling us that the culture doesn't fit right now. And it's exhausting because we've got these problems that are interconnected. So the difficulty with culture embracing diverse people means that we've got really massive dropout rates for people who are already underrepresented in technology. So we've got to fix it. And we've got two problems to fix. And in a wonderfully symmetrical way, I think we've really got two ways to address it. So I think this is really the traditional model for what we're looking for in culture change right now. We're looking at a conversion model where one person who cares passionately about an aspect of culture moves to get other people already in technology motivated around this issue, hoping that they'll continue to spread that outward. It's great, but I'm not sure it's really gaining much traction now. Here, we're really asking current technologists to become agents of cultural change. And it doesn't always work. So we've been talking about getting the culture of technology changed since forever? Since the 70s, at least. And when we look at different demographics in technology, we're actually seeing the participation of women in technology going down. We're seeing the participation of people of color going down since the 70s, which is really difficult. I think on some level, asking people who may not see an immediate need, an immediate benefit that reflects on them to take part in championing a culture change is a little bit of a hard sell. So I'm really into the idea that you can build a better culture by taking newbies and getting them on board and kind of making them your adorable little newbie army in the culture change war. Don't actually arm them, please. So instead of hoping that talking to one person or working with one person will get them to really take your cause on board, here, I'm asking you to take newbies who may be likely to already have the same goals as you and support them as they get into technology. So instead of taking technologists and making them agents of cultural change, I think it might be easier to take agents of cultural change and make them technologists. Is anybody here self-taught? Wait, wow, this is a great conference. Was it really, really hard? Who here's a native English speaker? Who here's not? Awesome. We've got an idiom in English that is to hit two birds with one stone. And it's a weird idiom and a bit unkind to birds. And here we're saying we're going to achieve two goals with the same action. So the two problems I've been talking about are we want more diversity in technology, and we want to see the culture change to better embrace diverse people. So by taking... I'm really, really passionate about concrete, actionable advice. So when I say, hey, teach newbies, and they'll change the culture, that's kind of crappy advice. So I'm going to walk you guys through some of the resources to actually foster newbies with different levels of involvement. So who here is a current learner who's still working their way into technology? Yay! So a lot of these resources should be useful for you on the learning side. Who's interested in sort of mentorship and helping out? Who's tired of raising their hands? So the first thing you can do, and this is literally the easiest thing that you could do, this is the least you can do in a good way, is pass out access and pass out information about free online resources for learning and skills development. It's really great because it's incredibly low cost to you. There's really no reason not to. And for learners, it gives them an opportunity to pick up some skills in a free environment that's self-paced. Has anybody seen Free Code Camp? Hey, I love Free Code Camp. There's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all learning environment, but it's really flexible, and they've got a built-in community to support people. If you have somebody approach you and they want to learn to program and can't give you any more details, Free Code Camp. Other really popular online resources that are free and open access are Code Academy, Code Wars, which is really great for drilling different languages, and the Learn to Code the Hard Way books are all really, really excellent. It's really easy to find online resources for either true beginners or false beginners in technology. When you start to get into the intermediate and advanced stages, it gets to be really difficult to find meaningful resources with useful feedback for learners. Has anybody used Exercism? Excellent. I really encourage people who've hit the intermediate stage to start participating in open access technology projects, so open source projects, working on building learning materials. But Exercism is a really great online tutorial system built for intermediate and above. Cool. Who's really, really motivated to get more newbies into tech? Like really motivated? Why? Because raising your hand's easy. So we're going to look at some programs that are a little bit more intensive than just pushing somebody a URL. We've already mentioned Rails Girls. Rails Girls is brilliant. It's an international movement focused on Ruby on Rails, getting women working with technology. The Rails Girls Summer of Code has already been mentioned, and I cannot say enough nice things about the program. Since we're language agnostic, Django Girls are also excellent. Same sort of concept, Python community, and any Pythonistas here? Oh, hard crowd. Whenever I'm working on signposting newbies into different communities, I tend to pick to either move them into the Python community or Ruby community, just because they tend to be really welcoming and really friendly. Codebar.io is brilliant, and I think at the moment they've only got them in the UK. These are weekly or bi-weekly meetings where members of the community teach from an established curriculum to anybody who's underrepresented in technology. If you've been looking for something to do in your city or in your town and there aren't resources now, Codebar.io is a really great way to get stuff started. And because I'm a shameless self-promoter, OpenCode is one of my projects, and it's a multi-city weekly language agnostic study session. And that sounds very fancy, but it's just a space for different technologists to gather and support themselves with peer support. So if you're interested in opening a sort of code salon in your city, I'd be more than happy to help you get set up with an open code. Oh, there are so many mentorship programs. I'm afraid that I'm going to bully you guys into Googling for that. There are tons of them. If you want to be mentoring, if you want to have a formalized mentor relationship with a learner, I promise there are amazing resources by you. So far we've talked about taking a look at free online resources or getting involved as a mentor or creating your own spaces for learning. I think that with the hacker culture and the hacker ethos, there's a little bit of a rejection of going into formalized programs often. You don't have to mentor at Rails Girls. You don't have to create an open code. There are really wonderful things you can do as an individual to make things better for newbies. Making yourself a visible resource sounds really abstract, but just saying, hey, if anybody needs something, I'm available. I'll tweet this every week, couple of weeks or so, and get some responses that are really wonderful, really inspiring, and sometimes stuff that's absolutely bananas. So have a think about how much visibility works for you, how much visibility feels safe, and yeah, go for it. Don't go way out of your way and take up all your time helping people, but this is really easy and low impact. A lot of times mentorship sounds like an incredibly formal system. You go into a mentorship program, they assign you someone, you meet every now and again. Mentorship can happen in really organic, really relaxed ways. If you have a newbie in your community or a learner that you feel that you're really able to support, have coffee with them every couple of weeks. Talk to them about their projects. And the hard thing, so I think in technology, we tend to build ourselves into silos pretty quickly. So who here is friends with other technologists? Who here spends a lot of time with people who are outside of tech? Oh, you guys are the most sociable techies ever. Usually I ask that question, I get a lot of... Doing outreach to communities that are not already involved in technology is an amazing way to get diverse people into it. I've found that talking really honestly about the perks. So we're at a conference, we have an amazing free lunch, we have brilliant companies giving us swag. People passed out free phones. If you walk around for long enough, someone will try and give you a job. This seems really normal after a while, but this is insane. If you have a LinkedIn profile, people will chase you to try and give you a job that pays more money. Tell people outside technology this, and tell people about your experiences getting into it. It's not as difficult as they think it is, it's not as closed off as they think it is, and there are free phones. But if you're going to be getting new people into technology, and especially if you're going to be aiming to get new, diverse people into technology, you've got to have a little bit of a think about the ethics. So I've said, oh, the great thing about teaching newbies is you can create your own little army for cultural war. That's a little creepy. So being really open and saying, hey, I'm interested in getting you into technology because I'd like to see more women in tech. I want to see more people from your background in tech. But you've got to do it in a way that's honest. Be honest about the conditions that they're likely to see. And I think if you're from a group that's well represented in technology, oftentimes it can be difficult to be honest about the challenges diverse people or underrepresented people are likely to face. Not because you're denying them, because y'all are cool, but because it's really difficult to see the experiences from other people's perspective. So be as honest as possible. Say, do you know what, I really want to see you working with this technology. I'd really love to see you coming to a conference. I'd really love to see you speaking. But be aware that there are issues in the community that might be problematic. Be cool. So if you're creating newbies, well, if you're supporting newbies, I don't think you're going to make them. It's a bit, ugh. If you're supporting newbies with the hope that they're going to spread a message of cultural change and inclusivity, you've got to be cool with the idea that not all of them are going to care. So I think we see a lot of times in the community that a very small section of the community does quite a bit of community building and caring and emotional caring. Be ready for the fact that some of the newbies you work with aren't really going to want to do that, and it's their choice, and it's cool. I do want you to be honest, but be honest in a measured, reasonable way. So if I'm working with a newbie who's a little bit nervous, I'll say, oh, hi, yeah, technology's great. Have this horror story of the worst conference experience I've ever had. You want to go? You want to go to a conference? No. Be honest in a measured, reasonable way and just say, do you know what? Here's some of the problems that exist, but let's look at them in the context of the work you would be doing, what value you see in it. Be aware of potential problems without maybe screaming too hard about them. Cool. I know that this isn't really set up for question and answer, and I'm really, really interested in your feedback. So I've got my Twitter handle across the bottom of all the slides. If you have any resources you've seen that would be lovely and you'd love me to feature, yell at me. If you think I was completely wrong and this is the worst talk you've ever seen, add like an emoji to soften it. Cool. Thank you all very much for your time.